This is the Kirkland Signature Cheese Pizza.
They're taking those rock hard pits that they're using as waste products, and then they're mushing them up with all these chemicals and making seed oils.
Why is sucralose, as an example, problematic?
It triggers your brain into thinking like you're getting all these great nutrients. And then when it gets down to your stomach, you really don't have anything but sugar and carbs. That's yoga mat material. They literally put it in bread.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Lila Rose Show. We're going to be sitting down again with Dr. Anthony J., who is a scientist, a geneticist, a researcher, and author for part 2 of this fascinating investigation into America's food industry. We're going to be focusing on the products in your grocery store and talking about, through a virtual walk through the grocery store, products that you should be aware of and products that are maybe not so bad after all. I hope you enjoy. I know you keep coming back to processed foods. Well, just avoid processed foods because that's where all the crazy stuff gets just thrown in there in the pile. So let's maybe go there. And then I want to talk about some of these specific ingredients in processed foods that are so detrimental. Let's start with something that seems maybe a little more innocent. So I don't know if people will say this is innocent, but you're in the frozen food section of the grocery store. And let's start with something as simple as the frozen fruit or the frozen whole veggies.
Not processed.
Not processed.
At all.
Super fine.
Yep.
Or preferably pick
Most
organic.
of the time. Again, there's genetic variants once in a while. Some people do poorly with too much sugar or whatever, but yeah.
But generally speaking,
very good.
So, all right, so that's covered. All right, let's keep moving down the aisle. Now we're going to get into the section of the frozen desserts. And we're talking, let's popsicles first. Now, I've noticed a lot of kids' popsicles. I'm usually looking for like popsicles that just are made with fruit juice. That would be my ideal for my kids. It's very hard to find those. Even with the ones that have organic slapped on them, they always are going to have added cane sugar. And then there's always these ingredients that often I don't know what these things are, and I have to research them. What about frozen, let's just say popsicles? Anything to look out for those for kids?
My kids just don't have those. So honestly, I stay away from them. I mean, my wife we homeschool, so they like to make stuff like that with actual fruits and things. But the problem is you kind of have to become an expert on a lot of this because, again, the government's not watching out for you. And so you have to become your own best advocate. And honestly, apple juice, for example, and orange juice has like 40 grams of sugar, carbs, right? In the form of sugar when you squeeze all these fruits and you distill it down to juice, whereas Coca-Cola has like 36 grams of sugar. Like sometimes the juices are worse for you, but if they don't have that much sugar, if it's only got 10 grams of sugar, kids can handle that pretty well if they're only having it once in a while. There's some nuance with the sugar stuff.
So
right?
I just want to unpack this for a minute. Popsicles. I know we're like wintertime. This would be better for summertime, but I think this is, one of the things I wanted to make sure to discuss with you today. So this is a brand. It says here, it's called Outshine. It says real fruit juice. I think there's an organic version of it, but anyways, it says no sugar added. Right?
Yeah. So they use the fruits to juice it up with sugar.
But look at this ingredient list to help me understand. So you have strawberry, water. Okay, great. Now it says sorbitol. Now it says maltodextrins, glycerin, polydextrose, citric acid, ascorbic acid, vitamin C, guar gum, sucralose, strawberry juice from concentrate, carob bean gum, natural flavor, acesulfame, potassium.
Another fake sugar.
Beet juice colors. That makes me feel a little better. Maybe it's not red 40 or, a dye. Turmeric, ulcerin color, tangerine, more sorbitol, polydextrose, and then it has modified corn syrup. It has more maltodextrins, citric acid, guar gum, sucralose, carob bean gum. I mean, literally this ingredient list. And in my view, it's like, okay, why can't we just get a pure juice and just freeze it and sell it to me conveniently pre-frozen? So I don't have to do that work myself.
Well, what they've done.
But tell me why. Tell me, are any of these problematic, these ingredients?
For sure. I mean, they've got sucralose and ACE K, like ACE sulfatame potassium is called ACE K.
Why is sucralose, as an example, problematic?
Well, you're spiking your insulin to some. You're just you're basically triggering sugar addiction, right? Like a lot of what they're doing is they're adding sweeteners to sugar. You have sugar, and then you're adding more sweeteners.
No sugar added.
No, it's not sugar. It's fake sugar, right?
Okay.
But for example, sucralose triggers your taste buds like 100 times more than regular sugar.
Wow.
So they're called hyperpalatability, right? Have you heard the term hyperpalatable?
No, tell me more.
Like Doritos and things. So a lot of times they hire food scientists, and this is why these ingredient lists get so long, to intentionally create hyper palatability, meaning it hyper activates your palate, right? In an unnatural way that you can never find something like that in nature. And so it triggers your brain into thinking like you're getting all these great nutrients. Your brain gets all excited. And then when it gets down to your stomach, you really don't have anything but sugar and carbs, right? Because look on the protein. I'll bet there's 1 gram of protein or something.
0 grams of protein. I mean, it's exactly. A popsicle.
And fats, 0 grams of fats, right? And then carbs, what's the carbs? 35 grams?
6 grams of carbs.
Oh, so that's, yeah. And then the reason it's so low is because they're putting all these fake sugars in there. But the point is, so in other words, I'm a little bit more inclined to get this one than something that has 36 grams of carbs.
So if I could pick the 36 grams of carbs, which is literally the orange juice that's been frozen, let's just say theoretically, right? Mm-hmm. Or this, which has a really long ingredient list because it's using the fake sugars as opposed to the real sugars that have more carbs, you would pick this one?
No.
You pick neither.
Well, it depends on how active the kids are and stuff and how rare it is. If they're having it every day, I would say don't do popsicles every day. That is a lot of sugar for daily consumption. If you have it once a week, I would definitely choose the fruit juices because, again, some of these studies are kind of questionable with sucralose and ACE-K and also a lot of these other ingredients that we don't need to get into all the details. But it's better to err on the side of skepticism when it comes to these synthetic chemicals. That's my general philosophy. So that's how I think about it.
Okay. So let's keep moving to the ice cream now. Mm-hmm. So some of the,
I'll just tell you right off the bat.
Yes.
If you have good dairy, I mean, if you do poorly with milk,
yes,
don't do ice cream.
Okay.
It's just
that's
the way
fair
it is.
Enough.
But
or you can do rice stream. What about those like non-dairy ice creams?
Well, I would avoid soy, but sure.
Okay.
And the other thing is I personally do very poorly with carrageenan.
Okay,
and carrageenan is very common in creams and ice cream.
Tell me more, because there's some ice cream brands where they say literally there's only 5 ingredients. There's like milk, there's sugar, there's dairy. Mm-hmm. Here's an example. This is from Ben and Jerry's. Mm-hmm. And by the way, we're not fans of Ben and Jerry's on this show. Not only are they overpriced and over hyped in my view, they're also like their politics are abysmal and they're always pushing their politics on their customers. So that's the big reason. But let's look at this Ben and Jerry's. It says cream, liquid sugar. Okay. No surprise, right? Mm-hmm. But then it goes in pressed soybean oil,
Yep.
It says egg white, salt, guar gum, molasses, vanilla extract, cocoa butter. And then it says carrageenan, and then baking soda, soy lecithin, annatto extract for color. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about those extra ingredients. If you see carrageenan in your ice cream, what would you?
I don't get it. I personally don't. I
Why?
don't even do toothpaste with carrageenan. It makes my gums inflamed. And I tried removing fluoride. I tried removing SLS, which is a detergent in toothpaste. None of that fixed my gingivitis gum issue that I had growing up. And then I got rid of carrageenan and boom, my gums don't have inflammation. And I've researched it, and once again, it's difficult because the guy that invented carrageenan, it's a seaweed extract. So they say, oh, it's okay, it's seaweed. Well, they're isolating it from seaweed, and it's kind of inflammatory. But again, when you go through the research,
eat a bunch of seaweed necessarily.
Like our bodies aren't adapted to like basically purifying all this extract.
Why do they put it in the ice cream?
It's a thickener.
To thicken it, okay.
Mm-hmm. And they put in heavy cream sometimes too. So I just make absolutely certain I buy the products that don't have those. And again, if you can't read all the ingredients, just stick with meats, veggies, and fruits, right? For sure, you're going to be safe with that stuff. With
and rice.
Kids. Yeah.
To some degree.
Yeah.
What about
root vegetables?
Root vegetables. What about, let's keep moving down the aisle, okay? Let's get to the more the processed food section.
But I would even consider ice cream as kind of like an exception, meaning like have it once in a while, but don't have it all the time. But you can have root vegetables all the time. You can have fruits
ice cream once a week, maybe.
Sure.
And make sure it doesn't.
Depends on your genes.
Maybe avoid carrageenan.
Definitely, I would recommend that. Yeah.
Okay. And how important is it for the milk to be organic?
Probably not that important in this case. Mm-hmm.
All right. Good to know. So now let's go into the processed food section and let's look at the frozen pizzas.
Oh boy.
EveryLife.com is America's fastest growing baby diaper and wipes company. I love EveryLife because this is a premium product made from the best materials for your little one. And EveryLife.com is a pro-life company. When you go to EveryLife.com/join, you can join the Changing Lives Club. This way you can set up a subscription to get your diapers and your wipes, these premium products delivered right to your door for your little one. And after 3 months of the subscription, you will be able to donate for free a month's supply of diapers to a mom and a baby in need. So what are you waiting for? Go to EveryLife.com/join. Join the Changing Lives Club. Use the code Lila at checkout. Get 10% off your order. Start your subscription, and after 3 months, you can donate a full month's supply of diapers to a mom and a baby in need. I'll be honest, we have frozen pizzas in my house. Yeah. We haven't always, and we won't necessarily always. Maybe after this episode, I'll be throwing them away. But once every couple weeks, especially if it's like a date night or something. And I'm always also questioning, like, if I'm ordering a to-go pizza, is that really healthier than the pizza that I get from the, freezer at Costco? So let's look at the ingredients of the Costco cheese pizzas. Okay, this is the Kirkland Signature Cheese Pizza. And
it's going to be a long list.
It's not a bad pizza. It doesn't taste terrible. Here's this specific ingredient list, and it doesn't look as bad. It says, this is, again, Costco can be so great. Enriched wheat flour, not organic, so there's a problem there, but water, toasted breadcrumbs, yeast, extra virgin olive oil, salt, sugars, barley flour, canola oil, toppings, part skim mozzarella, then cheddar cheese, sauce is water, crushed tomatoes, extra virgin olive oil, sugar, salt, vinegar, garlic powder, black pepper, onion powder. I understand what every ingredient on this is.
It's a great place to start. And
so is this a processed food in your view? Or how would you consider it?
I consider it processed. Okay. I don't eat that, but I do. But my wife makes pizza, and it's probably pretty similar ingredients, except she uses sourdough and that kind of thing. But I don't have a huge problem with that. Again, once in a while, once a week, no big deal. This is where it's so important that we get American grains and things cleaned up, because that could be super good, but now they're spraying glyphosate and atrazine and all these goofy chemicals on the wheat that's in there. But other than that, it's really good.
So if this was made with organic sourdough,
it'd be super.
Pretty great. Okay, that I now feel a little better about feeding this to my kids, but the dream would maybe be to make sourdough crust myself and make it for them myself. Okay, so let's keep moving.
I have girls that are like one of them's a teenager and stuff, so they make it, right?
See, you're in the golden years. Good for you.
Let's take it a little older.
Okay, so let's keep moving down the aisle and then I want to get to like the cereal aisle and stuff. Okay, are we doing good with this? Okay, so we're still in the frozen food section, and now let's go to frozen chicken nuggets.
Yeah, the chicken part I'm not too worried about, but it's the breading, of course.
Okay, so let's pull up that ingredient. So these are now there's the really nasty like dino nuggets, which I'm not even going to look at. I'm going to start with the healthier version, which is what I've gotten before, which they sell at Costco. And it's something like this. It's called, this is also sold at other stores, Just Bare lightly breaded chicken breast bites. No antibiotics ever. Let's look at the ingredients. Boneless, skinless chicken breast, water, seasoning, sugar, salt, spices, including paprika and celery seed. It does have canola oil and soybean oil, rice starch breaded with wheat flour, sugar, salt, non-fat dry milk, dried egg whites, baking powder, spice, paprika, breading set, and vegetable oil.
It's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty strict in my house with the seed oils. So if it's got seed oils, I just don't do it.
So what are the worst seed oil culprits?
All of them. I don't even do sesame. I don't even do sesame seed oil. If it's a seed oil, it's almost certainly not good for you.
But olive oil is okay.
Olives are fruits. Yeah. Olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, butter is good if you could do well with dairy. All of those. Lard is amazing. That's what our ancestors used. No problems, right?
Canola oils, soybean oils. What are some others to be on the lookout? Avocado oil.
Sunflower seed oil. If it's
avocado oil is okay though.
Avocados are fruits.
Because
those are
fruits.
Good.
Okay.
And by the way, there was a company that came out with avocado seed oil. And they're taking those rock hard pits that they're using as waste products from making guacamole, and then they're mushing them up with all these chemicals and making seed oils. Of course, that's going to be bad. I don't need to see the studies. I'm just going to assume that's bad, right? And I'm not going to argue with people about it. Me personally, I'm not going to have avocado seed oil, but the avocado oil is fine. Once in a while, it's okay to have a little bit of seed oils, right? So again, most people, I would say, sure. Me personally, I'm a little extra picky and I don't need to use seed oils. And my wife is lucky enough to stay at home and homeschool the kids, and my kids are really good helpers. So again, there's a lot going on, right?
All right. So we're going to keep going through, and some of these are products that I'm choosing them because I actually use them or have used them, or they're products that I think need special attention that maybe I'm not using, but people I think should know about. All right. So next we're doing Tater Tots.
Cool.
Okay. So let's pull up our Tater Tots here. They don't sell Tater Tots at Costco.
Okay.
I know this because my husband and boys really like Tater Tots. And when I go there, I can't buy them at Costco for them. But occasionally if I'm at Trader Joe's, I'll get them. Or they do sell them at places like Albertsons or Safeway or whatever. So here's the kind of classic Ora-Ida golden tater tot seasoned bag. Okay. We're going to pull up the ingredient list here. All right. Here we go. Potatoes, vegetable oil, blend, soybean and cottonseed, salt, yellow corn flour, dextrose, sodium, acid, pyrophosphate to retain natural color, dehydrated onion, sodium, acid, sulfate, natural flavor.
Yeah, again, with the seed oils, right? This is such a problem in America to try and find foods without seed oils. You almost have to buy the potatoes.
Just do olive oil, right?
I know. Other than the seed oils, it's okay. And again, I always get nervous about natural flavors, but other than that, it's fine.
Okay. All right, great. Let's keep moving. I think we're going to leave the frozen food section. We're not even going to, well, just for fun, we will do one Hot Pocket. So we're going to pull up a Hot Pocket.
Oh, boy.
All right, here we go. We're on the Hot Pocket website from the source itself.
I don't think I've ever eaten one of these.
That's why you're still standing. Okay. All right. Nestle Hot Pockets frozen snacking barbecue beef. Oh.
It's going to be a long list.
Enriched flour, wheat flour, malted barley flour, niacin, iron, thiamine, nitrate.
There's that folic acid too.
Okay. Riboflavin, folic acid, water, cooked beef steak ground and formed. All right. So far is how are we doing with enriched flour? I mean, anytime you see enriched flour, it should flag, right?
I'm not a fan. Yeah.
Because that's like that the good stuff is taken out and then they artificially put in stuff to enrich it, right? And you were talking about the folic acid earlier. Okay. So now it says, okay, now all the fun stuff. Okay. Yeast extract, maltodextrin flavors, beef stock, sunflower oil. So you got your seed oil, salt, sodium, phosphate, beef fat. Not horrible, but not great.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it just glancing and I'm seeing different types of sugars like maltodextrin and things. Again, they're just sneaking sugar in without saying sugar. And they're also putting a lot of seed oils. And I'm even seeing margarine in there, which of course is just more seed oil nonsense, right?
Wait, so it's a vehicle for sugar and then it's a vehicle for seed oils.
Yep, always. Yeah, and again, those two items, sugars and seed oils, they trick your brain. They trigger your brain, right? They're hyper palatable.
And that's why some people just love their Hot Pocket.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
I saw dough conditioner too, but it didn't have anything super sketchy. Sometimes those dough conditioners have, have you heard of azodicarbonamide?
No, tell me about it.
That's yoga mat material. They literally put it in bread. It's yoga mat material. And it's legal, and once again, illegal in Europe. RFK specifically talked about azodicarbonamide.
What would they put that in? Like a
Subway bread? Like Google Subway. You don't have to, but you can if you want. But just for listeners,
we're
also
doing it.
Google
Subway bread
azodicarbonamide. Okay. Search Subway bread, and I'll spell it out for you. AZODI.
Here we go. I found it. Yeah,
dicarbonamide.
Okay. Yes, Subway bread previously contained azodicarbonamide, a chemical that is also used in plastics and shoes. When did they stop taking? When did they take it out? 2014, it looks like.
Yeah, when the Food Babe, the Food Babe?
Yeah.
She was part of that whole recent government thing. She actually brought this to everybody's attention because it was in Wendy's, it was in McDonald's. And I think most of the companies didn't remove it, but she specifically was picking on Subway in this massive, she had a massive campaign with a petition, and so many thousands of people, were part of that. And so she got it out of Subway, but a lot of other companies and a lot of breads in the supermarkets and stuff, they still have the yoga mat material in them.
Crazy. Okay. What about Wonder Bread?
Well, it's just hyper processed, right? It's super simplified and it's almost like just having straight sugar,
Here we go. Here's our ingredient list for Wonder Bread. Unbleached enriched flour, wheat flour, malted barley flour, niacin, reduced iron, thiamine, mononitrate, riboflavin, folic acid, blah, blah, blah. So that's that whole thing. Then water, sugar. And then it says it also contains 2% or less of calcium carbonate, wheat gluten. So they put more gluten
extra
in.
Gluten.
Soybean oil, delicious. Dough conditioners. Oh, wow. Here's your dough conditioners. Can you read that? Lots of things. Let me see if I can pronounce these things. Sodium stearyl lactylate.
Yep.
Calcium stearyl lactylate, monoglycerides, mono and diglycerides, distilled monoglycerides, calcium peroxide. Okay.
So again, those can cause intestinal permeability. Have you heard this term, intestinal permeability?
Exodus 90 has changed the lives of thousands of men, making them more spiritually, physically, and mentally strong, and more successful in their relationships, work, and life. Ladies, this is an amazing program to share with the men that you love. And men, if you haven't tried it already, now is the time. Exodus 90 was created by men for men and offers men a path to greater freedom by helping them temporarily detach from unhealthy habits and teaching them physical, mental, and spiritual toughness. This 90-day journey, supported by the Exodus 90 app and community, connects men with accountability partners and provides daily inspiration to strengthen their resolve and encourage them down a path of self-discipline. The results speak for themselves. 99% of men who make an exodus report a greater level of freedom than they've ever experienced before. For the men in our audience, I encourage you to join Exodus 90 with Monsignor James Che, the president of the University of Mary, who is a spiritual guide for Advent this year on the Exodus 90 app. Go to exodus90.com/Lila. That's exodus90.com/Lila.
So I was talking to somebody recently about their gut issues that they have, and they had a lot of genetic risk for leaky gut, right? And then they said, but my doctor told me leaky gut is not a thing. And I'm like, what? Like, what? Your doctor says leaky gut is not a thing? We went to PubMed. Do you know what PubMed is? So for people that don't know, PubMed is the official government database for all the scientific research studies. It's got millions of scientific peer-reviewed studies. We went to PubMed and searched the term intestinal permeability. That's the technical term for leaky gut. And there was over 20,000 scientific studies on intestinal permeability, meaning it's a very well-established thing. You can't deny that it happens. And a lot of these different types of emulsifiers, which is most of that list, they basically make things, they make your gut more permeable. They make more holes in your gut, or at least more disposed to that. And what does that lead to? It leads to food particles coming into your bloodstream. And then your immune system panics and starts attacking those food particles because they're not supposed to be there. They're supposed to be digested into the individual building blocks. Like, think of Legos, right? You're not supposed to have like a Lego ship. You're supposed to break down the individual blocks when they come into your body. But if you get the entire Lego structure into your system, your immune system panics and starts attacking it. And then you develop all kinds of immune response, which is obviously bad because that can create permanent immune response. Or it just creates inflammation, which causes you to feel tired. I mean, think about it if you have the flu, right? You feel tired. It's inflammation.
All right. Also, soy lecithin.
Mm-hmm. Always with the soy. Yeah.
Always with the soy. Okay. And then it says soy lecithin, calcium propionate.
Yeah, that's a type of fat.
Retard spoilage.
Yeah, preservatives.
More preservatives.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's keep moving down the food aisle. So we just were in the bread aisle. I want to just pull up the Dave's product, Dave's Breads. You know what I'm talking about? So this is a company that we actually buy whole wheat bread from a lot. Mm-hmm. And it says organic bread, 21 whole grains and seeds. It's called Dave's Killer Bread. So this is a brand. They make bagels and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. But this ingredient list has always concerned me a little bit because it's pretty extensive and it has a lot of stuff in it. So let's take a look. Organic wheat, organic whole wheat, organic cracked whole wheat. Okay, that seems great, right? And then it has your cane sugar. That's like the third ingredient, basically, which it's organic though, which is nice. Organic 21 whole grains, and you've got a seed. So you've got organic whole flax seed, you've got sunflower seeds, you've got organic brown sesame seeds, you've got organic triticale, you've got rolled barley, and it says it's 21 grains. So you've really got 21s. And if you go down to the bottom, you get your salt, your yeast. What do you think?
That's fine.
Not too bad.
No, I don't see anything major there, unless you have gut issues. Again, sometimes when people have gut issues, it's surprising how poorly they do with all those different seeds and grains. Not because of pesticides they're spraying, but because the seeds and grains have a lot of natural toxins that the plants make, defense toxins. Even coffee is technically a seed, right? That's why a lot of people, if they have a lot of gut issues, they do poorly with coffee. It's a laxative. They get diarrhea, their body's evacuating it. And if they have green tea with just as much caffeine, if they have like a really heavy dose of green tea, they're fine when they have a lot of gut issues, right? It's not because the caffeine is so problematic. It's a lot of times the seeds versus leaves, right?
Okay, let's get to the cereal aisle. We're going to the one that in some ways, and this has made Froot Loops, I think, has gotten a special ire from the RFK world. And RFK had a video he particularly, I think, called out Froot Loops was on the table, if I remember correctly, because of the dyes. But let's look at Froot Loops right now. Can you believe that it's almost the end of 2024 and soon it will be Christmas? If you want time to slow down and focus on God, especially before this Christmas season, then I highly recommend Hallow. As you may know, Hallow is the #1 prayer app in the world with thousands of guided meditations and prayers. There's also sleep stories, Bible stories, content for kids, and so much more. Go check it out today. Hallow.com/Lila for 3 months free and join the Pray 25 prayer challenge with Hallow.
But I'm sure they got yellow 5 and 6. They've got red 40.
So we've got ingredients: corn flour blend, whole grain yellow corn flour, degerminated yellow corn flour, sugar, wheat flour, whole grain oat flour, modified food starch. Contains 2 or less of vegetable oil, hydrogenated coconut, soybean, and or cottonseed. Oat fiber, maltodextrin, salt, soluble corn fiber, natural flavor, red 40, yellow 5, blue 1, yellow 6, BHT for freshness.
And by the way, just stop you there. Every single one of those you just mentioned is illegal in Europe. BHT, illegal. Yellow 4 and 5, illegal. Red 40, illegal. Except, again, you have to put a disclaimer on the food if it has it. And whatever the other one was, blue 1, I think. All of those are illegal in Europe.
And this is Froot Loops, which, by the way, you can buy with food stamps if you're part of the SNAP program.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, a lot of these things, they can seem less expensive, and often they are less expensive than the organic, granola or whatever. And so you buy your Froot Loops, and then you have all of these food dyes in them. So in your view, the biggest culprit in your Froot Loops is the food dyes in terms of...
No, I mean, processed carbs. It's got everything. It's got the seed oils. It's got the processed grains. It's got the dyes. It's got BHT, which is linked to liver cancer. It's funny when you do animal research, if you want to give the animals, like the problem with a lot of animals is they don't get cancer when you're trying to study them. So you have to give them cancer, and then you give them drugs to try and cure the cancer. When they give them liver cancer, they use BHT. They give them a bunch of BHT, get liver cancer, and then try and cure that with different drugs, right? So it's not something you want.
The ingredient they're putting in a lot of cereals, including Froot Loops, is BHT, is what they're actually giving to animals to force them to get cancer, to run tests on them to try to remove the cancer. And that's BHT.
Exactly. Liver cancer.
So why...
It's toluene. I mean, toluene is super toxic. Like if you do organic chemistry and you work with toluene, you're going to be working in a fume hood with like really good protection, where you don't even breathe that stuff in.
Why is BHT legal in the United States to be put in, especially without a warning, into our cereals?
Well, I think a lot of a lot of these chemicals they come up with, they don't do a lot of safety testing. They assume they're good until they find out they're bad, which it should be the other way around. When you make an artificial chemical that's not found in nature, you should assume it's bad and then do a ton of testing. And even then I'm still a little skeptical, but let's maybe open it up to maybe make it legal if we've done a lot of testing. But again, it's kind of flipped on its head. It's a problem.
What are the problems with these dyes, like red 40, yellow 5, blue 1, and yellow 6?
There's a lot of problems. I mean, ADHD comes to mind. For example, they make you more twitchy and anxiety, higher anxiety. And it's some people, not everybody. So it's hard to pin down. But yeah, it's just... I think it triggers your brain in certain ways. And there's a long list of problems. I mean, in RFK's video, he listed like 10 things and he was reading off a script or something. So off the top of my head, I don't know all the things, but I know for sure ADHD is one of them. Okay,
let's round this out with processed meats. Let's start with maybe the worst offender, and then let's go to the most, the best processed meat in your view.
Sure.
What would be the worst offender of processed meats in your view?
Like summer sausage or something that's room temperature, that has so many chemicals and preserve. I mean, meat at room temperature with an expiration 2 years from now is kind of a problem.
Salami? What about those beef jerkies that you get? What are they called? The red ones?
Yeah, sure, beef jerky, yeah. Well, those are super dry. So anytime you dehydrate all the water out, a lot of times that's a form of preservation that our ancestors used So bacteria only thrive in damp environments and wet environments. So if you remove all the water and you just have meat and salt or something, that's totally fine.
Okay.
Now, obviously beef jerky, that's not what a lot of times they put a bunch of sugar in there and a bunch of sneaky nonsense. But again, like assuming you can find something clean, beef jerky is great, but
just avoid beef jerky that has too many preservatives or sugars.
Yeah. And usually they don't. So usually I'm okay with that. But,
okay.
But in terms of like summer sausages and things, it's really sketchy. Like there's some good ones that you can probably make them yourself or find a butcher that makes them that are good. But most of the time,
what about your standard hot dog? I'm going to go to the Costco hot dog.
Yeah.
Because the Costco hot dog is legendary. And, so far Costco's actually been doing pretty good in this episode. So I just searched for Costco hot dog on the Costco website. Nothing is coming up right now. So we're going to try to find it elsewhere. The Costco hot dog. There's an entire Wikipedia page dedicated to the Costco hot dog. This is, of course, the famous hot dog because for decades now, since 1984, you can get a Costco hot dog, which is 1/4 of a pound for only $1.50 along with a large sized soda drink, which we can talk about soda being bad. I think that's kind of a given here and as far as its impact on your health, but I'm interested in the ingredients of the Costco hot dog. So,
and by the way, I'm friends with Ken Berry. He's got a YouTube channel and he's a fan of hot dogs.
Okay,
as long as they have clean ingredients and things. So people hate on hot dogs and sometimes they're actually fine. They're just beef, water, and salt.
Nice. Here we go. Here's our hot dog from Costco. It says beef, water, dextrose,
sugar,
salt, spices, sodium lactate, garlic, paprika and extract, and sodium nitrate.
Yeah, so a lot of preservatives there at the end. Again,
it's not the worst hot dog you've ever seen, but it's not the best.
It's up there. I mean, I wouldn't eat that. I mean, again, you're basically eating antibiotics, right? Like those preservatives are killing bacteria. Right. I mean, that's the point of having preservatives is to kill and prevent bacteria from growing. And your gut has all these healthy bacteria that you need. And then if you eat something like that, you're just damaging your gut bacteria population. Right.
What is the best turkey? The best deli turkey in your view?
No idea.
Okay. What about this one? This is the Dietz and Watson Originals Turkey Breast Organic. But it says no added hormones, no nitrates added. And then it says it's humanely raised, gluten-free, no artificial preservatives, no MSG.
But then they throw carrageenan in there. Yeah. So, I mean, in general with meats, the closer you can get to just meat, the better.
You're good.
Meat, salt, sure. That.
What
that
about
sort
nitrates, no nitrates?
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Again, you're killing bacteria. I get it. There's a ton of research on them, and some plants have nitrates, like celery and stuff has a lot of nitrates and nitrites. But again, if you start concentrating those and eating a big dose of that with your meat, is there a bunch of evidence that shows it kills a ton of gut bacteria? No, because people aren't researching it. There's no government funded studies that are going to look at that. The government funding for studies right now is focused on pharmaceutical drugs and how can we make more of those, right? That's again, going back to this whole, we need to change the philosophy of the way we're doing research. Instead of focusing on more drugs, we need to focus on more food safety and clean it up.
Do you have any hope that under RFK, with the awareness that could be spread, whether he ends up getting his nomination ends up getting accepted or not, do you have hope that with enough awareness, things are going to change over the next few years?
Yeah, for sure. In fact, there's a ton of homeschooling families that I'm friends with, and even non-homeschooling families that are paying attention to their health, and people that are optimizing their health all across the country. I talk to them every day doing DNA consults. So there's a massive grassroots movement in this country, and it's so obvious you can't deny it. And it's just overwhelming evidence that something is wrong. We have to fix something. And I think RFK is a good person to do it. He's got good intentions, I think, and I think he's on the right track looking at these additives and preservatives and seed oils and processed foods and being skeptical of the pharma industry. Again, just start from a place of skepticism. It's a great place to start.
Do you have personal goals with your work in exposing what's happening with big pharma and in the food industry and what you'd like to see happen in this country?
Yeah, I work with individual people. So my goals are just to help people that are actually motivated. I don't like talking to people. Like most people that come to doctors, they're not that motivated. They just want a pill and they want to move on, honestly. And it is frustrating for doctors that actually want to do something good because most people don't care enough. And I don't have a lot of patience for that either. So what I do instead is I work with people that actually want to change and actually want to find out the truth and find out the right path for them. And those are the people that are going to be healthier, and they're probably going to save our country, intellectually, spiritually, all of the things, right? That's why, again, going back to homeschooling, I mean, the public school system controls your eating. They control what foods the kids get to a large degree across the country. They make people sit at desks all day long, which is terrible for their physical health. They make people do all these tests and everything that are oftentimes just teaching kids to spit back answers and not think for themselves. I mean, there's so many aspects. Spiritually, pretty much God is illegal in public schools. So they've denigrated the education from, the perspective of God, our body, mind, and soul, So a lot of it comes to these homeschoolers to save the country too, in my opinion. And it's important.
Where can people find your work, Dr. J?
ajconsultingcompany.com is my website.
Thank you. Thanks for pioneering.
I
know you were mentioning earlier, RFK, you think read your book, and I know some of the first times there's even been a lexicon for estrogenics and everything has been because of your work. So thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, appreciate you having me.
Thanks so much for listening to this part 2 episode with Dr. Anthony J, exploring our food industry and products that help or harm. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think, and let me know what other topics related to health and nutrition you want us to explore on the podcast. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the show if you're not already subscribed, and leave us a review if you're listening on podcast app. That helps the show reach more people. A huge thank you to our partner, EWTN. EWTN is the largest religious network reaching millions of people with the truth of the faith, entertainment, and news. Check them out at EWTN.com.